Do you ever grab your phone the second you're alone? Or turn on Netflix, YouTube, Spotify, literally anything just to keep the silence from creeping in? What if that constant need for distraction isn't about boredom at all, but about something deeper, louder, and way more personal? Today, we're diving into the world of mind noise and uncovering the surprising reason your own inner chatter might be the real thing you're trying to escape. Alright, let's get real for a second. Most of us live in a world that's buzzing non-stop. Notifications, group chats, work emails, Instagram reels, DoorDash alerts telling you your chicken tenders just got delivered. It never ends. But here's the wild part. Even when the world does quiet down, we don't. The noise in our heads just keeps going, like a radio station you never asked to tune into. And for a lot of people, that noise feels way more uncomfortable than any amount of external distraction. So we keep running toward noise, toward people, toward screens, not because we hate being alone, but because we hate what being alone brings out. That's what this video is all about. Understanding what mind noise actually is, why we avoid it, and how facing it might change your whole relationship with yourself. A. The silent scream of solitude. Let's start with this question. Have you ever felt like you're running from something? Even when your life seems totally normal? Like you're going through the motions, work, friends, errands, watching TikTok at 1 a.m. But any tiny gap in your day feels weirdly uncomfortable? That strange feeling is more common than you think. And a big reason is because we're living in a world where being alone isn't normal anymore. We're connected 24/7, so a moment of silence can feel like someone suddenly hit the emergency brake. But what if that discomfort you feel isn't about loneliness? What if it's about what shows up in the silence? Your thoughts, your doubts, your worries, your memories, all the stuff you don't usually give space to. Some people describe it like being stuck in a quiet room with a loudspeaker you can turn off. And the voice coming through isn't some creepy ghost. It's your own mind, just louder than usual. That's mind noise. And you can't really unnotice it. B. Decoding your inner DJ. Now, let's talk about the star of the show. That constant internal chatter. Your brain is basically an over-caffeinated DJ that never rests. It plays your thoughts on repeat, your to-do list, your mistakes from 5 years ago, the text you regret sending, the argument you're still replaying, and the imaginary scenarios where you finally say the perfect comeback line you didn't think of at the time. But here's the twist. This mental noise isn't a flaw. It actually evolved to protect you. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors needed to be hyper-aware. Every rustle in the bush could mean danger. So the brain learned to keep running internal simulations. What was that sound? What could go wrong? What should I do next? Basically, your brain is trying to help you survive. But it's using ancient wiring in a world where the biggest threat might be your boss asking if you have a second to talk. So the chatter continues. It reminds you of responsibilities, tries to predict potential problems, and analyzes every past decision like it's a crime scene. And when you get alone, with no conversations or distractions to drown it out, that inner DJ cranks the volume to level 100. Some people even say solitude feels like standing in a quiet room where their thoughts suddenly get too loud to think. It's ironic, but makes perfect sense. See, the many faces of mind noise doesn't look the same for everyone. For some people, it's constant overthinking running through every possible outcome of a situation. Like planning a text response and rewriting it in your head 27 times. For others, it's intrusive thoughts that show up out of nowhere. Not because you invited them, but because the brain loves tossing random weird stuff into your mental space like it's trying to entertain you. Then there's rumination. You know that thing where you replay the same worry, the same memory, the same conversation until you've practically memorized every microsecond of it. That's mind noise too, and it thrives in silence. There's also emotional chatter, the part of your brain that whispers, "What if they don't like you?" Or, "Why did you say that?" Or, "Are you sure you're good enough?" It's like having a tiny gremlin in your head who loves narrating everything you do, every second of the day. And when you're alone with no distractions, that gremlin gets a microphone. D. Why being alone turns up the volume. Here's something fascinating. When you're in a conversation, watching a show, scrolling social media, or just staying busy, your brain gets something it desperately wants. External input. External input equals relief. It is like giving the inner DJ a set of headphones and telling it to quietly vibe in the back. But when the world goes silent, your brain loses that input. So it tries to fill the gap with internal noise. This is why some people feel anxious when they walk into a quiet house, or why others can sit on their couch without immediately turning on a podcast or making sure there is something playing in the background. Silence doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like the starting signal for your thoughts to sprint in all directions. The escape hatch. Why we seek distraction now, this is where things get really interesting. If my noise gets louder in silence, it makes total sense why people avoid being alone. We reach for our phones like it's a survival instinct. We scroll, we watch, we text, we refresh. We open the fridge even when we're not hungry just to keep the internal chatter from swallowing us whole. And honestly, it works temporarily. Social media, music, conversations, to-do lists, errands, they all give your brain something to latch onto. It is like turning on a fan to drown out the sound of the neighbors arguing next door. But here's the catch. The quiet always returns. And when it does, the mind noise often feels even louder. That's why people describe being alone as scary, even if they never say it out loud. It is not the lack of other people that scares them, it's the presence of their own mind. Some even keep themselves busy to avoid introspection. Because introspection brings up uncomfortable truths. Fears, regrets, insecurities, unresolved feelings. Being alone acts like a mirror. And not everyone is ready to look at themselves that closely. The fear behind the noise. Let's get deeper. Why do we fear our own thoughts? A lot of people think silence feels uncomfortable because they'll get bored. But boredom is surface level. Mind noise digs deeper. Silence brings up questions like, am I happy with my life? Am I avoiding something painful? Do I actually like who I am when no one's around? Why do I feel anxious when I'm doing nothing? Those questions aren't easy, and sometimes the answers are even harder. So distraction becomes a safety blanket. Not because we're lazy or weak, but because we're human, and the human mind can be overwhelming. Alright, here's the part that changes everything. This is the twist most people never see coming. It's not the noise itself that causes the discomfort. It's your relationship with the noise. Read that again. You don't fear your thoughts because they're loud. You fear them because you think they're in charge, but they're not. Your mind is allowed to make noise. That's what minds do. Thoughts show up. Emotions show up. Random memories show up. Worries show up. The real problem happens when we treat every thought like it's important, urgent, meaningful, or a warning. But most thoughts are just mental weather. They pass. They shift. They fade. They change direction. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to fix them. You just have to let them be there without letting them control you. And that's the key to reclaiming your quiet. Not by shutting the mind off, but by realizing the noise doesn't define you. Once you stop fearing the noise, you stop fearing being alone. So let's wrap this up. My noise is real. It's messy, loud, chaotic, and sometimes annoying as hell. But it's also normal. Every person you know has their own internal DJ talking nonstop. We avoid solitude because we think the noise means something is wrong. But most of the time, it's just your brain doing what it's designed to do. When you stop fighting the noise and start observing it, something weirdly beautiful happens. Solitude stops feeling like a trap and starts feeling like clarity. You learn things about yourself. You notice patterns. You understand what you're really feeling. And you grow in ways you never could when you're constantly distracted. If you've watched this far, I want to hear from you. Do you feel like my noise is something you deal with? And what's the one distraction you always reach for when you're alone? Your phone, music, YouTube, Netflix, food, something else? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into human behavior, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who might need it. Thanks for watching, and maybe, just maybe, try sitting with yourself for a moment today. You might be surprised by what you hear.